I feel like I have to do a Neil thing, which is like, all right, everybody, here we go. Here we go. Get ready. Are you ready? I love it. How's everybody doing today on this beautiful Wednesday?
Amazing Neil
Great.
number two.
Amazing Neil number two. All right, I like it. I'll take it. Hey, guys, we have an absolutely positively amazing presenter today. Very, very excited for what we're covering. We have Mr. Jack Ma. Let's give Mr. Jack Ma a round of applause.
Woo!
Make it loud. Take yourself off mute. Um, Jack today is going to be going over his best practices, tips, and tricks on how to appropriately nurture your database, which is a very, very important thing to do. I am going to pass the mic over to Mr. Jack Ma and let him jump right in so you guys can start learning, okay?
All
Jack, the
right.
floor is yours,
Thank you, Keith, and thank you for the kind introduction.
buddy.
Thank you for having me too. So I actually have some slide deck prepared. So I'll send it to Jesse. So if anyone wants, you guys can get it from him. And just so this is by all means, this is just my opinion, how I am working, my belief on database, how I am working the database. By no means is the only way to do it, but hopefully it'll give you guys some clarity and different idea and to look at how to approach your database. Can I share screen or let me try? Are you guys seeing the screen? Okay, good. Yeah. So just I want to start like good old Mike Ferry fashion. What's a database? So I look it up in the dictionary. It's a usually large collection of data organized especially for rapid search. So we actually all have a database. Our phone book, using this basic definition, is a database. Follow Up Boss, where we put our clients, is a database. But this is just a very, very basic definition of database because, as you can see, it says its purpose is for rapid search and retrieval of data, right? So we don't want to just have a database. We actually want to have I stole this from Greg Harrelson, a data bank where it's going to generate us some money. And then this is my definition of a data bank. It's a list of people who likes me, trust me, willing to do direct business with me, or refer me clients. So that's actually how I decide who I want to put into my database. And basically, it's we can generate business from this. And I look at, I've been pretty fanatical about building a database because a couple of years ago, I was at a Tony Robbins event, and one of the workshop question was, what's your exit strategy? So I was just thinking, my exit strategy. Okay, so number one, what Mike Ferry told us, build a database so you can sell this database to another agent. That's one option. And number two, you can basically work, have a younger agent working together, partnering up, and then get a split from this database. And then a third option came to me. So what if I don't want to do real estate, but if I have a database or data bank where people likes me, trust me, willing to do business with me, and refer me business, essentially I can get into any different field, and then I already have a group of people that will be I can generate business from. So to me, database it's a gold mine. So I also wrote down some random thoughts. Another very Mike Ferry fashion. They're in no order of importance. I first one I put database require nurture and segmentation. Because maybe I should say data bank requires nurture and segmentation. If not, then you just have a system, a computer system, phone system, just hosting data. They're not doing anything. So we want to make sure when we're working our database, they need to be nurtured and segment or tag, whatever you want to call it. And then, as I mentioned, database is the gold mine in my business, right? And they are actually sources of come list me calls. We all work really hard. We prospect. We do all these things to find people, and then we try to close them on the phone. We cold call people. Oh, do you want to buy right now? Do you want to sell right now? Nope. If we throw this away, then we have no additional opportunity. And so we want to. It's hard to get people to answer the call, so we want to maximize each call. So that's why we're taught to ask for now business, ask for if they have a plan to buy or sell, as if they know anyone that wants to plan to sell. But there's a third opportunity sometimes we're lacking, is that build and nurture them, right? But we don't want to just put anyone in the database. So this is what I do. On a prospecting call, if I go through my scripts and then I found out they don't want to sell or buy and they don't know anyone, then I would add with the third question. I'm not sure if you knew this, but a lot of people do ask me to keep them updated with what's going on in the market. So I do this periodically. What's a good email address I can make sure you get the same update that they're all getting? And if on a cold call basis, if they gave me that, then so basically to me, they want to be updated. They're open to do business with me and potential referring. And then that's when they go into the database. So I don't put anyone I talk to on prospecting in the database. And it's important to have an email because I'm sure you guys heard Mike Ferry don't like to put these type of people in the database because he said if you call them every 90 days, the next time you call them, they're a new lead, they're a cold call again. So that's why having an email address is so important because you want to have a design, something to touch them. And I'll go over that, email them on a weekly basis. And so if they, so let's say you ask someone in the database day one, okay? After that, you had the conversation. Second, you send out a text, hey, thank you for the conversation. I'll keep you updated. And then you start to email them weekly on a and then call them 90 days. So by the time the 90-day comes, the next time you talk to them, they would have probably received 12 emails from you. So that call on the 90th day is not a pure cold call again. Chances are they'll remember you because you already have 12, 13 touches prior to that. So that's why having an email is very important. And then that's, so ideally we want to, my goal is actually to shift from, finding business and then have enough database to become their come list me calls. So maybe right now it's 75% to 25%. I have to find the prospect and then find now business 75% of the time. I would like to shift that to 50-50 or even 25% and having 75% of them just come list me call. So that's also a way how I'm looking at my business, how I want to build my business. And then it just occurred to me yesterday. So, when they are come list me call, these people are easier. You have an easier conversation, right? It's easier to get a contract signed. They're more open for to offering. They're less likely to cut your commission. And with this literally just occurred to me. I had a buyer representation consultation appointment yesterday, and it was someone from the database, like someone I met before, and I nurtured them. They're ready. They're thinking about buying. They call me, and then I had the present consultation, and I was trying to go through the different option. They're not quite ready to buy right now, but they basically say, you know what, don't worry. When we're ready, we're still going to work with you, right? This is knowing that they have the option to go direct, only the option that they may have to pay a buyer's agent directly. So having a database really helps us, our job easier, our life easier. And so I talked about it's our exit strategy. And I think this is one thing I mistaken before too, is that I used to mix lead with database. I think they need to be handled differently, and then they're not the same thing. So going to the next slide. So this is what I have. So who goes into the database? Ideally, I don't want the lead to go in the database, but having them in like follow-up boss, you can nurture them. It's just easier to nurture them. It's just easier to keep track. And sometimes lead goes in directly from other sources direct to follow-up boss. So I do have them all into the follow-up boss. And so who are in my database. This is how I segment or tag my database. So VIP, so that's database basically top 10%, right? Mike Ferry style. Past client, people that knows me, willing to do business with me, and then or with referring me business. So and then also people that I directly do business with. So that vendor, people I pay them. And then the last one is people who I want to build relationship with. So they can be influencers. If you know someone that knows a lot of people, people in the insurance industry, that are people that are CPA lawyers, knowing one lawyer, having one good contact with lawyer, it's probably worth more than 100 contact of just so call. So really try to build your database, segment them, and then work, but pretty much this is what it's Mike Ferry's definition of database. And on the second part of my CRM inside my follow-up boss, I have the lead category. And then basically my definition is they are people who are expressing interest that they may be thinking about buying or selling. And then but we don't know if they're willing to work with us or not. So we got to figure that out. And then, so basically, we started with how to build a database. So we started with a list of names or phone number. So expired list, the expired numbers you get from Mojo, RedX, Vulcan, they are not quite a lead yet. They're actually just a list. They're a higher probability list of people that want to sell, but they're still a lead list. You don't know if they want to buy or sell. You don't know if you don't know if they still want to buy or sell, and you don't know if they want to work with you or if their timeline still work. So we got to talk to them, and then we got to figure out, are they a lead or a database, and then they need to be tagged differently. So this is my lead progression, basically. So if I talk to a lead and we found out that, yes, they still want to buy or sell. So I got to find out what the time frame is. And then I haven't been doing a good job. This is so crucial, actually, in working your database. And, that's something that I've been getting a lot better on. And it's you got to find out if they want to buy, or do they want to do now, 30-day later, 60-day later, next year? What is it? And then you have to have your own definition on how to follow on different ones. So you got to tag them differently too, because you want to talk them differently in terms of frequency, right? If someone wants to call, buy or sell in 30 days, you don't want to call them every month. You probably want to call them every week at the minimum, right? Or every 2 times a week. But you just have to define it in a way that works for you or that makes sense for you. So we started with a list. We talked to them. We decided if they are a lead or if they are a database candidate, right? If they're a lead, now I find out their timeline. I decide if they're hot, warm, or cold. And then we try to set an appointment. So these are all different stages in my follow-up boss, appointments, I don't, basically, well, let me take it back. They are basically my lead flow. So from lead, hot, cold, or warm lead, and I'm trying to set an appointment. I go on an appointment. If we get the listing, that become an active client. And then from active client, they become a past client. And then the goal of nurturing is to make past client your raving fan, who's willing to always they're excited about your service and willing to give you free referrals. Now, sometimes we don't always get the appointments, right? So we went on an appointment, we don't get it. They're not interested in working with us. It's not complete dead yet, right? We can still put them on an email only, or you want to add them to database. That's your definition. So you got to decide on that. Or we may decide just throw away. Probably a lot of them will be throw away, but it's something that you have to have a clear definition of what's my definition of hot lead, warm lead, cold lead. If they don't want to buy, under what circumstances I'm going to keep them in the database. Just some ideas on tagging. There's definitely more, and this is how I tag them. So a lead I would tag buyer, seller. So for me, I still keep some of the leads on the index card, and these are people that are looking to sell within a month. So I want to make sure I see them. So I have probably 2-3 index card. If I talk to a for sale by owner, right, or expired, they say they still want to sell. They're going on this card because they can list within the week. Mike Ferry's definition. But if they say, oh, you know what, well, we may be looking to sell in the next so my hot lead is 1 to 3 months, right? So if that's what they say, I tag them hot lead, and then this is what I'm calling. and it doesn't make it right or wrong, but just you have your own definition. So I'll call them every week. If it's warmly, I'll call every 2 weeks. Coldly every 2 months, right? Now, if when you are, and then follow boss does a good job. You can set it, and then once you call them or text them, they'll disappear, and then they'll show up again in let's say for the Holly, right? If you call them today, you can set a smart list. They'll disappear from the list and then won't appear until the 7 days later, right? So it makes it easier for us to not think about it. So if I just make sure I clean this list every day, the only lead I need to think about are the ones that are on my hand, right? So and and one thing it's sometimes I do run into where like, ooh, I just talked to this guy yesterday or last week. If you're having that second thought about calling them, they may be in the wrong group. They may not be a hot lead. They may be a warm lead. So when you feel like, once you have your definition, and then so when you feel like, you have some call reluctancy, then you got to think about, are they in the right time frame, or are you tagging them, segmenting them correctly? So, and then of course, there's all different sources of business. Are they absentee? Are they from probate? Are they from expire? Because you can cater your message differently if you want to, right? I would also tag, if I have clients in a certain community that I like to work with, I would tag them in the, Blackstone Brea, the country, Diamond Bar, right? So if I want to send out some marketing message or conversation, I can just pull people in this message. Like, for example, if I have a listing in Blackstone in a certain community, I would pull that list and then send out another different email to them to say, hey, I got this listing, here's the link. Right. So having these different tags will also help you to work your database a little bit more efficiently.
Hey, Jack, really quick question for you.
Sure.
Have you always, I mean, as long as you've been in real estate, have you always operated with a CRM to kind of keep your database organized?
I've always operated out of a CRM. I don't, and being analytical and part of my creative avoidance and I always try to find the best CRM.
Yeah.
And so I tried them all. Gotta try like 6 of them or something. And until I landed on Follow Up Boss. And then also at the same time, I realized whenever I switch a CRM, there's gonna data get lost, tags get lost, and then I miss, I get overlooked. So I just made a commitment, promise to myself, I am not going to change my CRM. And then, good news is Follow Up Boss is literally, they're doing such a great job. So I don't even feel like the need to change the CRM. And so did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. And just a follow-up question. You know, as you've progressed within your career and seen more and more success, um, is part of your business planning strategy kind of towards the beginning of the year? Do you map out how many people you want to add to your database? Not necessarily to Follow Up Boss, but how many people you want to add to your database? And would you mind if you have that number or a general range? Would you share that with the group?
I didn't really put because it became automatic for me to ask that question. Hey, you're not sure if you knew this. A lot of people do ask me to keep them updated, that question, right? So on a typical week, I probably can add 3 to 4 people to the database
Got it.
on average. So I didn't have a number sets, but
Yeah.
and and then also another thing with the working a database is I used to work it like a database, not a data bank, where I just host the information. I
Yep.
just I've learned to better utilize my CRMs. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So then now this is my data, like my database progression, right? So they say, yes, I want to be keep updated. So I add them to the database. So they are now Sphere, or you can call it COI, or you can call the nurture, however you want to define them. So my job is, first of all, sooner or later, one day, probably, they're going to become a lead, right? So my job is to turn Sphere, COI, and Nurture into active client, into past client, and then becoming a raving fan. So they have repeat business and referral business. So that's how I see my database. Why I need to nurture my database, my sphere, because I need to earn the right to have their business, to earn the right to have their trust. And then that's come from the different message, different touches that that was designed to deliver to them. Right. And then this is, just a couple of different tagging, top 10% VIP, right? You want similar reason. You can have tons of different tag, however you like it. Just, because, the more detail you can tag it, the more specific the message you can actually cater to them. So this is one thing I think we still have an advantage compared to, mega corporation like Zillow's, Redfin, right? They cannot deliver the segmented messages. Their message is to the masses. If you can tag everyone that's in a specific community, you can design messages to these people, and that information becomes more relevant to them. So that's less likely you get unsubscribed, and then that's more likely that you get to be branded as a market expert. So that's one way to distinguish ourselves from all these major corporations. So now, what do I do to nurture the database? This is what I do. So people in my database, these are not leads. Leads are handled differently, but database. So I email them weekly. They get set up on a home valuation or market activity monthly. And then, they get a phone call. If I don't get them, I leave a message, and I send a text if I don't get them on the phone quarterly. And then I haven't been doing as much regular mail, but I used to do that too. As the database gets bigger, that gets a little bit more costly too. So, but that's when segmentation can come in play. I can decide that, hey, you know what? I don't want to send to all these people. I just want to send it to my past clients. So I can actually pull this out because I segmented my database and then just send it to so it makes it a little bit more efficient. So if you really look at it, so in a given year, so 50 weekly email, so that's 52 touches. Home valuation, market report monthly, so that's 12 touches. And phone or text quarterly, that's 4 touches. And if I do the mail, that's another 4. That's 84 touches a year. Do you think like they're gonna if they don't unsubscribe? Do you think they're going to remember you or believe that you're a market expert after 1 year? Most likely they will, right? Then you earn the rights. So whenever they're thinking about selling, they would consider at least interviewing you.
Jack, Martin.
Yes.
The text you sent them when you didn't get a hold of them, is that I'm going to say a manual text, or does the follow-up boss since I didn't answer your phone call, the follow-up boss, you punch in text Martin that I called them,
So you can, I text from my follow-up boss, so that's it just makes my life easier. So you can use that smart list, right? You can set it up so if you don't talk to or text someone for 3 months, it's gonna pop up. So I all my communication are through follow-up boss. In this scenario, if I don't get a hold of them, I probably may do a manual text. You could design a text template. You gotta be careful because I think if within certain period of time and then you send out the same text message multiple times within a certain period, then your text may not be delivered for a little bit. And then you got to be careful with that because also if that keeps on happening, now you may have problem sending out text. So that's you also got to be careful with how to handle your text messages. Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Jackma, it's Miriam. I have a question for you.
Sure.
For this mail that you send, what do you send in it?
It really doesn't matter. It's just a touch. You can, so this is where segmentation comes in play, right? If you have the time and energy to segment different, for example, if you know a community you're working, you have a lot of people in there, you can actually send sold information for that community, right? And this is mainly just a touch. It's for them to see you in different media. Like it's using different way to touch them. So basically, they hear from you. They see in a computer. They see you. You may even have Facebook custom audience campaign, right? So they see you on Facebook, and then they get a phone call from you. So you're like covering
Mhm.
occupying their mind space.
Right. So for the Facebook, do you add them to your Facebook as well?
Yeah, you can do
Facebook?
that. You can do that. There are application where they sync with Follow Up Boss, and then anyone in there it's automatically loaded. And then you can do
Wow.
that to create the Facebook ads on that. But yes, you can always, or you can do it weekly, right, or monthly. Just download it from Follow Up Boss, upload into the Facebook, and then run
Mhm.
an ad on that. So
Wow.
like sometimes my email blast, right? I have market updates. I usually
Mhm.
would, in addition to email it out, I will also put them in a custom audience, because if they may not read my email, they may not read my
Mhm.
email, and
Mhm.
then now they may see the information on Facebook. So it's just different
Always,
touches,
always,
right?
always in their mind.
Yes. And then I think another key information, well, I think I wrote down. Yeah, okay. I have that. So, like I said, it's just touches, MySpace, different ways to touch you in addition to what I was doing. There's live virtual events. I started doing a little bit of that. You can do a client appreciation party, and then they don't have to be super expensive. You can buy out a movie theater, a couple hundred
Mhm.
bucks, $1,000, host a bunch of people, right? Or you can have coffee, lunch, dinner, just a meetup. You can pop
Mhm.
by, that's different, a touch, incidental gift, right? Oh, it's a 1 year
Mhm.
anniversary. Here's your small gift. It's just there, and handwritten note. These are all just different ways to touch. And then you have to, based on your workload, your transaction amount, decide what's more efficient. I mean,
Mhm.
there are all these things we can do, but it's impossible for any of us to do every single thing. So you just gotta decide what's more efficient, cost wise, time wise, and get the max out of these touches, different touches. Okay, and then so what to say, what the content of these touches. Most importantly, I think it's got to be something of value and something it's of relevance to them. Because if it's not something of value, then you're not gonna get unsubscribed, or you're gonna get like, don't call me. So that goes back to, if the only thing you're on the email or on the call is, when do you want to sell, you probably get blocked pretty soon. So you gotta make sure that it's something of value. Did the client or my sphere, after reading my message, hearing my message, they learn something more than before. To me, that's what I focus on, right? Example, market updates, right? Your vendor list. These are all value. Hey, not sure if you knew this. I do network with a lot of vendors that's relating to a house. If you ever have anything that's, you need a repair, just let me know. I got a good one for you, right? New law changes, right? Mortgage rate changes. Hey, not sure if you knew, interest rate went from 7.5% last month. Now it's hovering around 6.75 to 7. So, and what that means, we're seeing more buyers, whatnot, right? And living trust. I think this is an important one, and reminding people to do living trust. We're offering to know. Do you know about living trust? What do you know about living trust? What do you know about Proposition 16 or 19? Right? Offer real estate planning. Real estate property tax reminder reassessment, right? Hey, you know what? Are you seeing, is the property tax accurate? Do you need a come to so I can help you get like dispute on a property tax, or offer general help, or if they're investor, offering good deal. Hey, there's a listing that it's in your neighborhood, that's a good deal, right? It can be anything. There's so many things that we can talk to them about that. We know enough. We assume that it has to be some really sophisticated message. eh, we don't need to. It's just a lot of it. It's just a touch, but make sure it's giving value. So don't just always call them and then just the only thing you do is, hey, do you know anyone want to sell, or do you want to sell? Right? Always before you can ask the right to earn the right to ask for a referral or their business, you have to earn the right by providing something of value. And again, some random thoughts, and not in any order of importance. I learned this first one from my wife. At first, I'm like, email weekly? Isn't that a lot? And my wife, she used to be in marketing. She used to be a marketing manager for a online retailer, and he said, you assume that you're so important that they read your email every single time, huh? I'm like, That's a good point. So yeah, don't worry, they don't. And then on that, remember to alternate, like change it up a little bit, right? So I have everyone unsubscribe to something, but nobody unsubscribe to everything. So deliver these emails from different systems. That's why I have my weekly email, and I have another system that send out home value and market activity. If they unsubscribe from market activity report, they may still be getting my email. So there's different platform, different content. Sometimes
Even the
hey,
MLS, right? Even the MLS,
yeah, you
when
can.
we put auto for them to deliver all the listings.
Yeah, so they can unsubscribe to that, right? But if you have another system that's delivering email, then they are still getting something, right? And basically just change it up, because whatever you want to send, think about, is this relevance to them? Is there value to them? Because I know a lot of people just always send email blast out just listed of their property. I just listed a property, blast it out to everyone. To me, I mean, I can see, yeah, you're trying to get that sold, but at the same time, you're risking getting unsubscribed. Because if you really think about it, and if someone that's not thinking about buying, or you're doing a just listed email blast to your database, this property may not even be in any type of proximity to where they live. This just list information has no value to them. So if that's all they receive, they're gonna unsubscribe you, after 2-3 weeks or a month. So make sure, change it up. Like, so and then sometimes I do a video, sometimes, like a blog post information, right? And then you never know what people likes. Some people may like because they stay on your list because they like your video. Some people may stay on your list because they like the market update. So change it up, the information. Yeah, so I pretty much covered quite a bit. Yeah, give the gift, right? Just how I can help, give the valuable information. And with the database, sometimes you don't need to be as hard sales. If you talk to them, you talk to them on a regular basis now, right? If you talk to them, I just attacked by Randy. Yeah, if you talk to them 2 weeks ago and they told you they're not selling, don't ask them again if they want to sell. Right? That's common sense, right? With the database, sometimes we don't need to be as hard sales as if they are a hot lead. And I think this is important. Be consistent with your message. Have an identity. Have a brand, right? I'll give you an example. So in the earlier slide, I did said that our job is to create raving fan. Turn these center influence to a raving fan, right? So if you think about how do you become a fan of someone? You started with, you heard, let's say, a music, right? Or basketball. I'm a basketball guy. So you saw a highlight play on ESPN. Ooh, that guy's really, that was amazing. That's interesting. And then you start to try to get more message or information about the guy, see more of the highlights, and then you become a raving fan. Now you start to spend the money on the guy, buy his jersey, go to the game, right? That's the progression. That's what we're trying to do. And then so that's having that consistent message becomes important, because for me, I brand myself as the real estate market update guy, the educator. So if my message is consistent, if all of a sudden I started to dancing on the screen, and then people were like, what the heck? That's not why I liked his messages. And so having that and it's okay. We can't cater ourselves to everyone, but having that consistent message, consistent branding, consistent image will help you grow this database. In any call on the database, just give the value, ask for referral, and then find out if they have a plan right now or not. And I don't have, they'll tell you because they already have rapport with you. They're less likely to lie to you as opposed to a lead. They're going to lie to you, right? Yeah. So that is my presentation.
Let's give Jack a round of applause, guys.
Woo!
All right.
Right, Jack.
Great
Yes.
job,
Good
Jack.
job, Jack.
Hi, Tyrone.
Who's got questions for Jack?
Jack, it's Emma
Yes.
from Chino Hills.
Hi.
I've seen that of the leads that we are currently purchasing, there's a lot of withdrawals. And I know we're not supposed to call the withdrawals.
Mhm.
Are you, what do? Just scratch them out and avoid them and don't even though I do know that
I
some people
don't.
are calling on them.
I don't. And then expire is not a big part of my business. New expire is not a big part of my business, and old expires are a bigger part, but not a new expire. So I do call them, but I don't spend a lot of time on the new one, and I don't call withdraw.
So it's the old expires, 2022, 2021.
So it depends on how you define it. My definition of a new expire, it's actually 30 days. So and then anything beyond that becomes the old expire. So and it's how you define it, and then you definitely can like think back what happened during that time, right? 2022, interest rates started to go up in April. We're starting more expire. So yeah, 2022 to end of the year, that's when interest rates shooting up. Those are people that wanted to sell and then they couldn't sell because of the interest rate, right? So they may be a hotter opportunity. So yeah, so it's really how I don't have my definition. Anything older than a month, it's old expire, and then I don't always hammer them all the time. I probably call a list. I'll pick up a list and then just call through a month, and then I'll pick up another list time frame and then just call through the next month.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, thanks for all your information. That sounds great, all this stuff that you have here. My question for you is, on your email campaigns, are you setting this up, or are you having our marketing department set up your email campaign? So, you set the 12 scheduled to go out, let's say the first of every month. Are you doing that, or are you having someone else do that, or how are you going about it?
So it's a template. So usually, I do have an assistant. So okay, so I don't send out those just listed just so email, right? But they're at the bottom of my email, so they're just part of they're not the main focus of my email, but so they're part of it. So it's templated. I have couple of different templates. So for example, on the bottom, it's the listing I recently sold. It's there. So my assistant will update that for me, and then on top of that, I may have some couple market updates, and then I may record a video. So that would be a template. So I'll just so basically I just need to record it, plug it in, and then she's gonna update the listing information and just send it out.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. And
you don't have to complicate things, right? Just have couple, like 3 or 4, templates, and then just build, just change that message.
Got it. Do you do the same with text?
Text to who? Like, what do you mean by text?
When you're sending the text, or you don't send group text, or do you personally?
I don't send group text.
Group text. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So Jack, one more question. Can I hire your assistant?
I love it.
No, any other
Just
questions?
kidding, just kidding.
Hey,
Jack,
we
there's
did,
a couple
The
of
real Neil showed
questions.
up.
we
Hey,
did have a question on the chat, so I don't want to
Yeah.
ignore any of the chats. Kalani asked, do you still do cold calling, or are you just working your database only?
We have to do cold call because on a given day. So just past so basically I actually just tweak it a little bit, because I've started to find out, I've been, so basically, I'm spending, my goal is to spend an hour and a half on the database and then an hour and a half on the new contact cold calls. So because that's the way to add to your database. If you only work your current database, then you're not going to grow the database. And it's only by meeting people, talking to people, you can add them to the database. They're probably going to be at a point where the database may get too big, and then you can't physically call all of them in a quarterly. So that's when a lot of these tagging, or a lot of these the tools in the database CRM comes in play, because I think YLocal, you get notified if someone viewed a market activity updates or a new listing, right? So if if you can't touch everyone, you at least touch those people that show some kind of interest. They're interacting with your CRM. So that's yeah. So yes, I do still cold call. It's still 50% of my time. And there's gonna be at one point if I don't segment, or I won't have the time to touch the new cold calls. So I need to better segment and utilizing the CRM to help.
Hey, Jack, I think it'd be helpful for the team to know generally who are you targeting when you are cold calling? Are you doing just listed, just sold? So what is your bread and butter?
Okay, so my bread and butter is database, and then it's just listed and just sold, and I'm starting to get more diversity. One of the first thing my coach started working with me when I first started working with him is to have so everything has to be systemized. You have to have a system. So we define which are the top lead sources we're gonna call, and then just have to touch them every day or every week. So and then I also look at it by efficiency, right? So if you look at a expired listing, so they want to sell at one point, and then they are willing to pay a commission. They are a good lead. Visible, they want to sell. You don't know if they want to pay a commission, but that's still a very good lead, right? So that's why they're the hottest one. And probate, chances are, chances are they're probably gonna sell, and chances are they probably you may not know. They probably they probably will pay a commission. So they are also a hot lead, right? So those are the hottest one. And of course, people that express interest in buying, selling, those incoming ones, those are hot. Those are the hottest one. And then I go down and then I'll touch my database. There are people that I don't know if they want to sell or not, but I know more than likely they're willing to pay a commission because we have a relationship. So they're also a good lead. And then we go down. My next one is absentee. I don't know if they want to sell. I don't know if they're willing to pay a commission, but I know they have multiple properties. So the quality of absentee is at least double that of a just listed, just sold, or cold call, right? And then you go down to cold call or just listed, just sold. You don't know if they want to sell. If you don't know if they're willing to pay a commission. So that's how I structure my call sources.
That makes sense. Thanks for that.
Now, Jack, do you door knock?
Never got into it. And then my coach finally said, okay, how was your door knocking coming along? I'm like, no. And then she's like, why don't we just take it off the list?
She-
Well,
It works.
Jay,
It's just
Jack,
I never got into it. Sorry.
Hey Jack, from your database, your closed sales last year, what percentage were from the database and what percentage was from active prospecting?
It's always like 60% or above from database.
60% from the
Yeah.
database?
And then
And
these
then-
are a lot. They're like, come list me, right? Oh, I'm ready to sell. Okay. And then actually quite a bit of them, even though they're in not my database, but they came from cold call, right? And I never met them. It was just through emails and phone calls. And then I can still take the listing on the spot without meeting them.
Wow. So
Yeah.
your email campaign and your nurturing database is what got you that come list me, correct?
Yeah, but so the database is a future business, right? These are future business. That's why you
Right.
still need to have cold call for now business. You
Got it.
still gotta call through that list for now business.
Got it.
How many contacts a day for call calling for you, Jack?
I'm switching to by the hours. I feel like it's been working better for me. So right now I have an hour and a half allocated for database every day. And then I have an hour and a half allocated for other sources. And then if you really think about it, most of these sources, you don't have to, it depends on what you like, right? You can touch every single sources every day. But other than expire and FISBO, a lot of them don't have that. Like for example, absentee owner, you can call them every day, for 30 minutes, or you can call them for 2 hours on Wednesday, right? They don't have that as much of a sensitivity with the time. So you can really decide which one works better for you.
And so how many hours per
3
day?
hours. 3 hours.
Okay. thank
Two and a half to 2 to 3 hours. I haven't been as consistent, but
Mhm.
that's
And for like contacts every day, how many do you make?
so for 2 hour I would get to 30 if because I have a big portion is a database, past sphere, right? And then I leave message and then I do count them. So it's
Thank
up to you how you want to count them as a contact or not, but just be consistent with it.
Thank you.
You had a few additional questions in the chat, Jack. Which system do you use for making calls? I'm assuming this is specific to cold calling.
What system do I use to make calls?
Yep.
So I have a single line dialer, and it's called Phone Burner.
Got it.
I mean, there's a Mojo. It's a great one. I don't use my follow-up thoughts to call cold calls because I want to protect that numbers. If you use that, because I think you can get that number get spammed if you hang up too much within certain number. There's some rules, so I don't want to mess with my follow-up boss number. So any cold calls, I'm going from a dialer.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Sense. And then for your home valuation, I know you were using Ylopo. Have you recently switched up for the home valuation service?
Yes, I did.
Who
So
are you using right now?
it's actually a sponsored by Century 21. It's called Real Scout.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I think Ylopo does have their own now still, right?
They do, yeah. They just rolled out their own, but I know Real Scout does integrate with Follow Up Boss, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, if right now I'm at the point if I were to consider anything, they have to have a really tight integration with Follow Up Boss, or else I'm not gonna, because it's just gonna make things complicated.
Yep. No, absolutely.
And then HomeBot is still a good one, right? And then affordable too.
Yep. I think there was one additional question. I think in general, someone was asking, how large is your database? I think everyone, they wanna get a proxy for, what size database should I aspire to get to? So when you define your database or your data bank, which I love that, by the way, how large is that?
But right now I have about 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but need to work them in a higher level and keep on adding. I want to get to like 3,000-4,000 people in there. And I know at that point I won't be able to personally touch them every quarter. So that's maybe a prospector came in, or that's when I only call the hand raisers, right? People that have some kind of interaction with me, or the more segmented. That's why I'm starting the segmentation early. It's going to be helpful down the road too.
Sounds good. I think that's
Jack,
all the questions.
I'm sorry. Let me just ask a question. When you cold call and you leave a message, that becomes a lead for you?
A contact.
A contact.
For cold call, if I leave a message, cold call, I don't leave a message. Yeah, like you mean like prospecting cold call, or like what type of cold call?
Prospecting cold call.
So you have a list expire, and yeah. So for me, and then that's just how I do it. I don't leave a message on those, and then I don't count them as contact.
All right, thank you.
All right. Hey guys, let's give Jack another round of applause.
Thank you.
Awesome,
Thank you.
Jack.
Hopefully this helps. Yeah.
And then like Jack mentioned, he's going to send over his presentation to Jesse, and Jesse and the team will make sure that it's available for you guys to reference, so that you guys can get your arms around getting your database in check.
Okay,
Yeah, and then
Jack, can you repeat who was the lead generation company that you currently are working with?
so I got my expires, Fizzbo, all the lead from Arch Communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then my dialer is Phone Burner.
A Phone Burner. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, that's our training today. I believe we're gonna. There's Pops jumped on. We're gonna give everyone a little bit of time to break, and then I believe we're coming back with some calling here in the next 15 minutes. Once again, thanks again, Jack. That was great information, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course.
I want to
Jack,
make sure.
Thank you. That was amazing. Very well received. Very well done. Thank you.
I want to make sure I provide value, right?
You
my database.
provided value. And if anyone wants to send you referrals for the marketplace that you work in, you won't be mad at that, will you?
Yeah, and I speak Chinese.
Oh,
Mandarin.
really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So if anyone needs a partner for Chinese, let me know. That speak Chinese, let me know.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Great job, Jack. Thank you. Excellent. Micah, who's up next?